Okay, as everybody knows, tomorrow's Yud Kislev. So tonight is a Fabrengen on La Brea at 7:30. Tomorrow night we're having a Fabrengen here in Shul at 8 o'clock for men and women. Okay, go back to halacha, what we're learning. We finished the dinim of, generally, the dinim of Bris Milah. So the next dinim here in Kitzur are the dinim of what's called Pidyon Ben. Pidyon Ben means you have to redeem the firstborn male child. Now, when Hashem killed the firstborn Egyptians, he basically said, okay, so now the Jewish firstborns belong to me. So therefore, when a person has a firstborn, and we'll soon see the details in a second, what's called Peter Rachem, the firstborn from the woman in a natural birth, they have to do a Pidyon Ben. Now, the din is you do a Pidyon Ben on the 31st day. Because until 30 days, a baby does not have a chazaka of being alive. Because until 30 days, the baby still has a din what's called a nathel. Therefore, if a baby passes away within 30 days, there's no shiva, there's no mourning, there's no, kaddish, there's no nothing, because it's not a viable baby halachically until it's 30 days old. So, in other words, if the kohen comes on the 20th day and he says, okay, give me the money to redeem your firstborn, the guy could say to the kohen, listen, how do you know he's going to live? You don't know he's going to live. So therefore, the din is, you have to do a Pidyon Ben on the 31st day. Now, what is the criteria of being obligated in the Pidyon Ben? Number one, the baby has to be born natural birth. It has to be a firstborn. So let's say a woman has first a cesarean, and the second baby is born naturally, in the natural way. So even though the second child is the firstborn from the rechem, from the womb, nevertheless he's not a b'chor, because there's an older child born before them. If the firstborn is a girl, then again there's no Pidyon Ben. Another din is, because it goes according to the mother, so to speak, if the father or mother are a kohen, either the father or the mother are bas kohen or ben kohen, there's no Pidyon Ben. If the father or mother is a bas Levi, so again, there's no Pidyon Ben. So Pidyon Ben is, in order to have a Pidyon Ben, number one, it has to be Yisrael from both sides. Secondly, it has to be the firstborn. Thirdly, it has to be a natural birth. Right? And so therefore, you don't have a Pidyon Ben, obviously, as often as you have a Bris Milah. Because a lot of times, the girl's born first, or it's whatever it may be. Now, how much is the money, what is the amount to redeem a Pidyon Ben? So the Torah speaks about 5 shkolim of kesef, 5 shekels of kesef, which in today's value, it's approximately, different opinions, but we hold it's like 103 grams of silver, or the value of 103 grams of silver. In other words, halachically, you have to give something tangible. Let's say 103 grams of silver, let's say it's worth $100, okay? You can't give the kohen a $100 bill. You can't give him a check for $100 because that's not coins. It's a certificate. It's a document that you owe him the money. Even a dollar bill, even though in America it's counted as cash, but it's not actually valuable of cash. The government says you have to be. So lepel, but if somebody technically wants to give something that's valuable, a ring, let's say that's worth $100, and they want to redeem the baby with that money, they would be allowed to. The minig is that you do it with $5 silver, which is the equivalent of that X amount of silver. What? Did they do Pter? No, they didn't, but I'm sure the office probably did. Because they kept the Torah before it was given. Because the whole concept of Pidyon Ben came because Hashem killed the firstborn Egyptians. So before that happened, there wasn't the concept of it even. Okay, but okay, so you can't give shtaris, you can't give land. You have to give actual objects that's worth that amount of money. Now it's also customary to do a su'uda at the time of Pidyon Haben. Because again, like we were discussing by Bris Milah, it's a suda's mitzvah. In fact, it says if you eat from a suda of a Pidyon Haben, it's like you fasted 84 fasts. So it's like, a very prominent thing to do. Now what they do most of the time is that they have a suda, they'll wash, people will wash, and then at the beginning of the meal, that's when they'll redeem the child and do the Pidyon Haben, and then at the end, as it says in the Siddur, Kohen takes a becher, a cup, makes a berry piagofen on the wine, and then you have the rest of the meal, but then the kid is actually redeemed. Now, if somebody spoke, just like we learned by a bris milah, that if you already spoke to the moil that you want him to do the bris, you shouldn't change your mind. But same thing with the Pidyon Haben, that you can't, once you spoke to a kohen to do it, you can't change your mind. Unless obviously the kohen disappeared or whatever, then he's not around, so then you could. But otherwise, if he's around, you're not what?
What's the monetary equivalent of those 5 shekels?
I said 103 grams of silver. Whatever that's in today's value, I don't know what it is. How much is silver today? $5, $6 an ounce?
How much?
Sorry.
$6, $27 an ounce?
$27 an ounce?
$125, $130 today.
What?
The 5 something.
103 grams? Is how much?
Right now it's 78 cents a gram. So it's $85.
Okay, whatever. But the custom is you do it with. By the way, when you give it to the coin, you have to have in mind that a lot of times what happens, people don't have the coins.
They don't do that. Each coin is 1 ounce.
Right.
So $25 an ounce today. 24 something.
Okay, whatever.
That's
But
the thing, $125.
But so usually the kohen is the one that has the coins because he does the Pidyon Haben. So you actually buy the coins from the kohen, they become your coins, and then you give it back to the kohen to redeem them. Okay.
That's the amount you'll give to the kohen, right? At some point you have to give him cash for that, right?
Well, you're giving him the $5 silver.
He's going to give that?
Yeah.
I thought that it's...
You buy it from him. Or you could go to the bank and buy $5 silver. What's the difference? You go to a coin store, you can buy $5 silver. Yeah, there's a whole thing in the city, in the Siddur. In the Siddur, you come to the kohen and you say, my wife gave birth to a firstborn child, and the Torah says that you're not allowed, you have to redeem the firstborn. So the kohen says to the father, what would you want more, your kid or the $5 silver? The 5 shkolim. And then the father says, hopefully, he says, I want the kid. By the way, it's an interesting halacha in Shulchan Aruch. What happens if the father says to keep the kid? Father says he's too cheap. He doesn't want to redeem the kid. He doesn't want the kid. He says to the kohen, okay, it's yours, keep him. So in Shulchan Aruch it says you're not allowed to do that. You can't say, okay, I don't want to redeem the kid. You have a mitzvah to redeem the kid. It's not either or, that if I don't redeem him, the kohen keeps the kid. But and then you put the money and you have to make the bracha before you do the mitzvah. So you make the bracha, and then while you're putting the money over the kohen's hands, and there's a lot of minhagim with the Pidyon Haben. They bring in the baby on a pillow and they adorn the baby with jewelry. All the women there give their jewelry to put on the baby, on the pillow, and they put sugar and garlic. It's a whole ritual, traditions of customs that people do at the time of a Pidyon Haben. In my family, we didn't do Pidyon Haben because I'm a Levi, and we just didn't. My kids never did Pidyon Haben. What?
What if the family wasn't religious? The person was never redeemed. Can they do it later, like 20 years, 30 years?
So the din is that a person who is not redeemed by the father, when they can become bar mitzvah, they have an obligation to redeem themselves. They have an obligation to redeem yourself. But there's a very interesting shaila that's brought down. I know it happened by a friend of mine. One second, let me see where he brings it down. If a bris is delayed, okay, if a bris is delayed, and then you have sometimes a case, by the way, where they'll do a Pidyon Haben before the bris. What happens if a kid is born, okay, and there's a medical condition that you can't do the bris for 2 months, 6 weeks, whatever. But the kids are firstborn. So the thing is you have to do the Pidyon Haben even before you do the bris. But there's another interesting shayla. What happens if it ends up to be on the same day? 1 second.
If I didn't do the Pidyon Haben later, many years later.
Huh?
So if I didn't do the Pidyon
Yeah.
Haben later.
One second. If it's okay, first you do the bris and then you do the Pidyon Haben. If it's on the same day, let's say the kid's bris could be on the 31st day, and you have to do Pidyon Haben. So first you do the bris and then you do the Pidyon Haben.
You do it on the 30th day or 31st?
What?
You do it on the 30th?
31st day. We mentioned that before. You have to do it on the 31st day. Now, what happens if the 31st day is on Shabbos? So then you do the bris on Sunday. Some people in some sources in halacha say you do the Pidyon, not the bris, the Pidyon Haben. You do the Pidyon Haben Saturday night. But there are other poskim that say it's better not to do a Pidyon Haben at night. But not you're not allowed to, they say it's better. But there's no difference between doing it at the night. Let's say you have to do a bris Sunday, a Pidyon Haben. So you have to do a Pidyon Haben Sunday, you could do it Saturday night or Sunday, there's no difference. As long as you do it before sundown. There's also another issue, the kid has to be an X amount of days, an X amount of hours, an X amount of minutes. But usually when it's on the 31st day, that's not a problem of action. You wait in 2 days because you're not allowed to do transactions on Yom Tif. But again, then you're not desecrating anything. If a person has to do a Pidyon Haben, let's say on Friday, they say, you know what, let's push it off to Sunday, we'll have a nice party. Every day that you push off a Pidyon Haben, you're transgressing a positive mitzvah of the Torah. So if you push it off 2 days, you're transgressing 2 positive mitzvahs, because the Torah says you have to do it on the 31st day.
What if it falls on Shabbos?
You push it off to Sunday. Huh? Yeah, but you can't do transactions on Shabbos.
You can do. You mentioned if this falls within when the day of the bris is, you could do both of them together on the same day.
Yeah, but the poskim might first you do a bris, then the Pidyon Haben, but you have to do both the same day. But I know cases where the Pidyon Haben was done before the bris. Does the kohen have to be miyuchas? I mean, ideally, you should make sure a kohen is really a kohen.
I'm saying, like, is it any different than what you said for?
I mean, you have issues. What happens? I don't want to say it on tape, but what happens if a kohen was doing Pidyon Habens and then you found out he's not a kohen?
Do it again?
So it's a very big shayla. That means if he wasn't a kohen, none of those kids were redeemed. So,
But if he was a kohen, but not anymore, okay?
that's what I'm saying. If he was a kohen, and then later, for whatever reason. So the shaila is, it's a very complicated shaila. It happened here in the city, by the way.
If you're not sure,
Not sure if what?
if he's going, where's going allowed?
So I mean, ideally, people should try to get what's called a kohen miyuchas, that you know that he's a kohen. But for instance, there's certain things that disqualify a kohen from being a kohen. For instance, if a kohen marries a divorcee, he's not allowed to marry a divorcee. So he loses his kahuna. He can't give up. There was a rabbi in Chicago of a large conservative shul, and they used to make a lot of money with funerals. But he said, okay, I give up my kahuna. I'm not a kohen. You can't do that. If you do certain things, like you marry a divorcee, you marry a non-Jewish woman, you marry, there's certain marriages that are kohen, thing that or a kohen that goes to cemeteries, loses the status of Kohen. So he can't get an Aliyah Kohen, he can't do Pidyon Haben, he can't Duchen, because he loses his status. He's going, a Kohen that transgresses the laws designated for a Kohen loses his status until he does tshuva. That's not for Pidyon Haben, it's only for the Mizbeach a problem. It wouldn't be a problem for this. Okay. Machatchin is a meisem melch beba mein kim shlag out of Hashem. Dort geht Woche sagt so